Hey, this is Russ. We've been talking about various cases I've worked on in the past when I worked with the District Attorney's Office, San Diego PD, Chula Vista PD. And I want to share with you a case that made it to television. How's that? This is an old case, probably close to about 30 years now, something like that. And this is the case of Betty Broderick, Elizabeth Broderick. Look that up on Google, and you'll find it. Look it up on YouTube. You'll find videos about it as well. But it was a very prominent case. They made two made-for-TV movies on her, and actually on us working that case at the DA's office. I think it was called A Woman Scorned, the Betty Broderick story, something like that. And the reason she had two movies is because the first trial that we put on ended up in a hung jury. So we had to go to trial a second time. We ended up with second-degree murder for her. And I think a couple of years ago, she was up for parole, I think, and she was denied parole. So I believe she's still in prison. But anyways, my job on this case was to do all the supplemental photography, videography, and clean up all the audio recordings for the trial, and then create all of the exhibits for the trial. So this would be all the photography exhibits and anything that had to do with the case. And I visited the crime scene as an employee of the district attorney's office. We made some video. We basically walked up the steps where she was and had murdered her husband and his then new wife, and then we made a video of that to show the trial, a trial for the jury. So what was my involvement with it? Well, basically all the video, photography, and audio work that had to be done with it. And there was quite a few audio recordings that needed to be cleaned up in terms of noise and things like that. These are old recordings going to her to the answering machine, I guess. She left a number of messages for Dan Broderick, who was the husband. And why is this case so noted is because she had claimed that I believe she claimed that she had the right to kill him. Dan Broderick was a prominent San Diego attorney, and I guess she had helped him move up the ranks in the sense of supporting him all the years to get to that level. And then what did he do? He divorced her and married his secretary, who strikingly looks a lot like Betty Broderick did when she was younger. So a lot of people felt that she didn't get a good deal out of this. She spent her life putting all these things together for him, and they were the socialites and everything. And then she gets dumped, and he marries the secretary for the replacement of her. And so she decided that he didn't deserve to live, and decided that she would shoot and kill them one night. But obviously there's no excuse for murder, and so you can't do that. But again, a lot of women, I think, kind of said, yeah, he kind of deserved it. So it made it all the way to Oprah, right? So Betty was actually on Oprah, and I actually met Betty Broderick a couple of times because I had to take photos. Oh, here's an interesting thing. I almost forgot. The district attorney wanted some photos of Betty when she was testifying in court. So, of course, I got assigned to go to court to take the photos of her. Now, back then, I was using a Nikon FM2 camera. And if you know anything about those cameras with the motor drive on it, it's kind of noisy. Every time you take a shot, it'd go click, you'd hear it. But then the motor drive would have that loud motor drive sound going off. So every time I'm shooting photos, it's click and motor drive sound, To the point where the defense attorney objected. He says, Your Honor, we had agreed that there would not be any photography here, and this guy's making all sorts of noise during the trial. So the judge said, well, he's taking photos for the DA's office, so I'm going to allow it. All right. So I'm still shooting photos, and of course, again, the attorney would object and says, this is just unacceptable. So the judge said to me, Mr. Lowe, do you have all your photos? I guess, yes, I do. And I finished and I left. But I don't know what happened to those photos. I know I gave it to the DA's office. It's sitting somewhere in some file, I'm sure somewhere. But I have probably the only photos that were taken of her while she was up on the stand for the DA's office case. So anyways, that is probably the most known case that I worked on that made it on television. Well, there is actually one more case that was that I worked on. It was featured on America's Most Wanted, and this is the case of Charles Russ. Okay, one of my friends at the Chula Vista Police Department when I was working over there, it was her case. And I'm sure she will remember this case, of course. Charles Russ was wanted. He made, I think he was one of the top FBI cases, something like that. They were looking for him, so he made it on America's Most Wanted. But what was noted with that case is he ran over his wife with his Mercedes. And not only did he run her over once, he backed up over her and ran her over a couple of more times. And I recall, no, I can't say this on video. I can't say this on video. I'm sorry. I can't tell you these details on video, but there was things that I saw that from autopsy photos and things that it's just not something I can say. But I did work on that case as well. Look that case up too if you want, Charles Russ. And anyways, I think that's enough for today. Hey, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you know when new videos from me come out. If you'd like to see or hear more things from me about crime scene cases, let me know. Otherwise, we may be heading back to our other regularly scheduled videos. How's that? Anyways, I will talk to you guys next time.